What if the very first human relationship began not with romance, marriage, or even words, but with a simple decision to stay beside another person? Imagine going back tens of thousands of years to a world without houses, wedding ceremonies, dating, or even the concept of a boyfriend or girlfriend. Humans lived in small groups, followed animals, gathered plants, searched for water, and constantly faced predators, hunger, disease, and brutal weather. But somewhere in this ancient world, something remarkable was happening. Humans were beginning to form emotional bonds that were far more complicated than simply staying together to survive. So how did the first human relationships actually begin? The truth is, we will probably never know the identity of the first couple, because they left no written record. But archaeology and anthropology give us fascinating clues. Early humans were highly social animals, and living together provided enormous advantages. A single person had to search for food, protect themselves, care for children, and survive dangerous environments alone. But a group could cooperate. Two people who trusted each other could share food, protect one another, care for children, and increase their chances of surviving. And this is where the story gets interesting. Ancient relationships may not have looked anything like modern romance. There were probably many different forms of partnerships, and they could have been influenced by survival, family connections, social cooperation, attraction, and the need to raise children. Scientists believe that human infants require an unusually long period of care compared with many other animals, meaning cooperation between adults could have been extremely valuable. Imagine an ancient woman returning to a small camp carrying gathered food while a man has returned from hunting. They share what they have found. Their group watches over the children while others prepare food or make tools. Over time, repeated cooperation could create familiarity, trust, attachment, and eventually a powerful emotional bond. But here comes the mystery. When did humans stop simply cooperating and start actually falling in love? We cannot look into the minds of people who lived tens of thousands of years ago, but ancient burials provide one extraordinary clue. Archaeologists have discovered prehistoric graves where people were buried together, sometimes in ways suggesting that relationships and social connections mattered deeply. These discoveries cannot prove that the people were romantic partners, but they show that ancient humans could have strong emotional and social attachments, and relationships weren't only about survival. Human evolution also favored behaviors involving affection, cooperation, jealousy, protection, bonding, and parental care. Touch itself may have played a role. Sitting close to someone for warmth, protecting each other during sleep, grooming one another, sharing food, or caring for an injured partner could gradually strengthen emotional attachment. In a world where every night could bring danger, having someone who stayed beside you may have meant more than we can imagine. But there is another surprising possibility. The first human couple probably never knew they were doing something that would shape the future of our entire species. They had no wedding ring, no legal document, no dating app, and probably no word for romantic relationship. They simply had another person they trusted, someone they shared food with, protected, touched, cared for, and perhaps loved. And while we may never discover their names or hear their voices, every relationship formed thousands of years later carries echoes of the same ancient human need to belong to someone, to be protected, to protect another, and to face an uncertain world together. So the first human relationship may not have begun with a grand romantic moment at all. It may have started with something much simpler: two humans choosing again and again not to walk alone.